Hi, greetings from Academia Bliss. Today we are going to discuss an important geopolitical analysis in this video. How USA's decades-long strategy failed miserably in Russia-Ukraine war and Russia's clever strategy. So, basically we know in today's world there are two basic types of economics. One is capitalism and other one is communism, right? In capitalist economy, the country's economy is run by private players and that is in official take corporates. And in communist economy, it is run by people in socialist movement. But more often, we can see most communist country run by dictators. I don't say all, but mostly. So, post World War II, these types of models competed against each other, and the result is bipolar world, that is USA in the West, supported by Western European countries, Japan, Australia, etc. USSR in the East, supported by few countries like Cuba, Venezuela, etc. Also, we know USA formed NATO alliance along with other capitalist countries in the name of democracy. Finally, in 1992, USSR disintegrated and many Eastern European nations were formed. Even though post USSR disintegration, USSR formed its own alliance as CSTO, Central Security Treaty Organization, but it was not as powerful as NATO. Ultimately, the US becomes the sole supreme power in 90s. USA tries to directly influence other countries. If the obliged USA favors them through support, military, and supporting international organization. When it comes to economy, it favors by giving aid, as we have heard US aid Pakistan. When it comes to military, it supplies weapons and also gives military assistance by maintaining a base like Saudi Arabia, South Korea, and Japan. Also, it supports in international organizations such as UN, FATF, G7, World Bank, IMF. If it doesn't oblige, it uses same parameters such as sanctioning the economy and waging a war against the country which doesn't support its agenda. But USA cannot directly influence some countries. For example, USA wants India to contain China, but in order to contain it, it indirectly influences Pakistan to contain India at same time. USA doesn't want any countries in the world to challenge its ultimate authority in the world and uses all types of methods for it. As we can see here, US calls India ally in national security strategy, terms China competitor and Russia threat. US said to provide USD 450 million F-16 sustainment package to Pakistan despite India's objection. At the same time, not only for India, same techniques is adopted in China by forming alliances with India. Example is Quad. Also, previously in 1970s, USA even used China to contain Russia. The USA have conflicts with almost all continents and all regions to sustain its top position. As you can see in the map, the thick red are the ones with direct conflict and the light reds are the one with less conflict. So, how US influences? Simple. USA is a leading in GDP, military. As you can see the CIPRI index, the United States have the score of 0.0453 and the United States have the share of world GDP for 24.08 percentage, which is higher, and it has leading tech companies like Google, Tesla, and Multiverse. But USA wants to influence something more precious. It's none other than oil and gas, also called liquid gold. USA tries to keep these oil and gas producing countries in its influences. This is one of the main reasons why it wants the dollar as the global currency. Strong dollar means less value for oil and gas in USA, only in USA. So, it tries to keep friendship with oil and gas producing countries. But if countries resist, we have already discussed the fatality the countries have to face. Even though US produces lot of oil, it produces less oil because less oil produces more demand and ultimately more profit. Here we can see that the USA produces 571 million tons of oil. This is why USA keeps these countries in its influences. Now, let's discuss this angle of oil and gas in Russia-Ukraine war. Most of the European countries buy gas from Russia due to geographical closeness. North Macedonia gets 100% share, and we can see Bosnia and Moldova, Finland, Germany gets 49 percentage and France gets 24 percentage. And it is hated by USA. These are two reasons for it. The reasons are US fears these countries may fail into Russian influence, as ex-president quoted. See, the US president quoted that Germany is totally controlled by Russia because they will be getting 60 to 70% of the energy from Russia and a new pipeline. And the next reason is US wants to make a huge profit by selling its oil to European countries. Recently, in news, we have heard about the blast of Nord Stream pipeline between Germany and Russia. We can see the image here and see the statement of ex-Poland foreign minister in tweet by Mr. Radek Sikorski. Also, see the statement of US Secretary Blinken below that. Does it ring the bell? Now, let's see these countries are sanctioned by the West and countries indicated by arrow. Also, see the data in the right. Comparing the left and the right data, four countries that is Iran, Iraq, Venezuela and Russia is sanctioned by US and West. And also see the percentage of oil and gas produced by these countries. This reduces the oil in oil market and ultimately people are suffering due to it. Now compare the cost of gasoline in different countries in dollar. See, in US it's cheaper, but in European countries like France, Germany has higher cost for same oil. Right here we can see that USA has 4.61 dollars while the Germany have $6.86 and the France have $7.16. This gives the conclusion that US is selling the soil or selling the oil in its domestic market in cheaper price while costlier in European markets. Even though countries like France and Germany are capitalist, they too have represent government elected by people, and these representatives are answerable to the people whoever voted them, and at the same time also have to be loyal to the corporates. People have started feeling heat and they have started to protest in public. Ultimately, leaders of these countries have to condemn. We can see that Macron lashes out at the United States over double standard energy policies. German minister criticizes US over astronomical natural gas prices. Not only these peoples protested for energy inflation but also demanded to get out of the NATO bloc. You can see here the mass people protest against NATO and EU erupt in France, Germany, and parts of Europe. Here, Russia also used same clever strategies in this geopolitical war. It managed to get past allies of USA such as Saudi, UAE to get its side. Saudi didn't mind the opinion of US while cutting the production of oil OPEC plus. It also influenced its allies India and China by luring it with cheap oil discounts. As you can see the graph, the amounts of barrels of oil China and India brought from Russia during Russia-Ukraine war. Not only people, some European leaders have also voiced against US and EU for unwanted actions against Russia. Remember what the Vice Admiral of Germany said during his visit to India before Russia-Ukraine war. Russia is an important country. Even we, India and Germany need Russia because we need Russia against China. From my Roman Catholic perspective, Russia is a Christian country even though Putin is an atheist. I think having this big country, even if it is not a democracy at all, as a bilateral partner, keep Russia away from China. Vice Admiral said. Clearing the US agenda is starting to fail and this brainchild NATO is starting to balkanize.